This is Veronica Morningstone for a special, bowl game edition of the Dan Wetzel College Football Podcast, brought to you by the fine folks at the Pulan-Wedita Bowl. This year's Pulan-Wedita Bowl is a clash between the University of New Mexico and the practice squad of the Indianapolis Colts. It will be held in the open lot behind their American Legion Hall in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Today, I am joined by Fake Dan Beebe, the fake Twitter account of former Big 12 Commissioner Dan Beebe. I repeat, this is a fake. So, Mr. Fake Dan Beebe, it was a dramatic week in your old conference. Oklahoma State blew out Oklahoma 44-10. Your thoughts on the game?
It was shocking. I haven't seen Oklahoma look so uncompetitive since the last state poverty rankings were released.
Despite the impressive victory, Oklahoma State was blocked from the BCS title game by Alabama. Is this fair?
If there was one thing I learned from last season, it was that when billionaires decide to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a college football program, instead of things that actually matter, that team gets to lose in the championship game. Oh well. Even if Oklahoma State can't get crushed by LSU this year, it can at least emulate Oregon by beating the pants off Stanford.
A +1 would have allowed for Oklahoma State to compete for the national title. Can you explain again why, under your stewardship, the Big 12 opposed the +1 back in 2008?
We were told there would be no math. Plus, the only +1 I'm interested in is my date to the Fiesta Bowl VIP party. What are you doing that night, Veronica? You and the Dan? We'd make quite the power couple.
Mr. Fake Dan Beebe, this is a serious interview. Please concentrate. Now, will the Alabama LSU sequel be more like the football equivalent of The Godfather Part 2? Or Caddyshack 2?
I would like to see a rule where if the number 1 and number 2 BCS teams have played in the regular season, the team that lost is ineligible for the national championship because rematches are stupid. I would also like to see a rule where Tommy Tuberville is stupid. That's the entire rule. Everyone already knows it, now it's time to codify it.
T. Boone Pickens has called for an investigation of the BCS? What do you think a T. Boone Pickens investigation would entail?
I welcome this. I am a former investigator for the NCAA, Veronica, never forget that. And, Veronica, a handsome one at that, I might add. So if T. Boone sent me on an investigation, knowing his largesse and mental faculty, I can only assume we'd be given rocket launchers and sent into the woods to hunt leprechauns. That, to T. Boone, constitutes an NCAA investigation. One of these days, I need to tell you the story about when he tried to buy the sport of football. It was adorable.
The Sugar Bowl decided to ignore both Kansas State and Baylor and instead took a Virginia Tech team that just lost by 4 touchdowns.
To be fair, it's very easy to ignore Kansas State and Baylor. I can't wait for Baylor to announce they've signed Robert Griffin IV. And it's just RG3 with his hair combed out.
Does anything say America's great bowl tradition like the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl that features an Illinois team that has already fired its head coach and is on a 6-game losing streak against a UCLA team that has also fired its coach and needed to petition the NCAA to allow it to play with a 6-7 record?
It's not nice of you to say mean things about the funniest bowl game of all time. Do you also make fun of Arrested Development, Animal House, and Garrett Gilbert? We must protect our comedic treasures, not demean them. Shame on you, Veronica. Shame, shame, shame. Now, are we still on for the Fiesta Bowl VIP party?
Mr. Fake Dan Beebe, while I will acknowledge the alluring qualities of your mustache, I am a career woman and I believe I should be afforded all of the professional respect of a cartoon journalist who interviews a fake Twitter account on a low-budget college football podcast and thus not be subject to your repeated advances to a Fiesta Bowl party that, even with the firing of Gentlemen's Club connoisseur and former CEO John Junker, will probably maintain its Sodom and Gomorrah qualities. Besides, for that particular event, I have already agreed to accompany T. Boone Pickens.
Carry on then, Veronica. Danny Dan's roll will not be slowed. It is, indeed, your loss.